Hey guys, Rick here with Life of a Punter. Saturday features Wolfsburg hosting Bayer Leverkusen, and this game looks like it's going to be an absolute goalfest. Over the last 5 seasons, head-to-head in Bundesliga, these two teams have played against each other 10 times, and the average match goal is 4.3 goals per game, which is very high. Match goals over 2.5 has hit in 90% of the time, which is also very high because match goals over 2.5 doesn't really hit too often, and currently around 50% from what I've seen. And there's typically goals in the first half, as shown here, by 100%. And looking at who's going to score in this matchup, it looks like it's going to be a both teams to score bet here. Wolfsburg has scored in 90% of the games head-to-head, and they've conceded in 100%. When is Wolfsburg going to get their first goal? The time of goal doesn't really look too evident. It looks like it's probably going to be somewhere in the second half. And for Leverkusen, probably is going to be before the 60th minute. And looking at some of the historical scorelines between these two teams, you can see the high-scoring nature. The last time they played against each other, there were 6 goals. Back in 2015, there were 9 goals. And every single other time, looks like there's been at least 3 goals scored in the games. The only time where match goal over 2.5 didn't hit was back in 2013 when it finished 1-1. So the stats are definitely looking very positive there for both teams to score and for match goals over 2.5. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to see how these two teams are playing overall this season because I want to see if these trends are consistent across this season. So what I'm looking at here is how has Wolfsburg played at home so far this season in Bundesliga. They've played 12 games. Match goals over 1.5 has hit 100% of the time. Match goals over 2.5, only 50%, but the average match goal is 2.92. So when match goals over 2.5 hits, it hits high. And first half goals over 0.5 does go down to 75%. But Wolfsburg has scored in all but one game at home this season. They've scored in 92% of home games. And they've also conceded in 92% of home games. So both teams' score trend definitely consistent there. And looking at the score lines of their recent games, they scored against Bayern. They've been scoring every single game, really, in the past. Actually, since the very first game of the season was the only game that they didn't score at home. So both teams' score looks very, very plausible here. And lastly, what I'm going to check is how has Leverkusen played so far away from home this season. All right, so they've played 12 games as well. Match goals over 1.5 is hit in 83% of the time. Match goals over 2.5 is hit 58%. But when it does hit, looks like it's very high because the average match goal is 3.33 goals per game. First half goals over 0.5, 75%. And Leverkusen score rate, 92% away from home this season. They've scored in all but one away game so far this season. And a pretty high concede rate as well, 75%. And looking at the historical score lines from this season, the only game that Leverkusen didn't score was a couple weeks ago when they traveled away to Freiburg. But besides that, see these score lines. Match goals over 2.5 hit in this game against Hamburg, against Hoffenheim, against Hanover. It didn't against Stuttgart. But I definitely like both teams to score here in this matchup. And match goals over 2.5. So looking at the odds pre-match, both teams to score is paying 1.61. So that's a pretty good odd to take pre-match. I typically like going for both teams to score at 1.8 or at 2.0 odds. So what I do like and what I'm going to take pre-match here is this. Both teams to score and match goals over 2.5. Just because we saw in the head-to-head, the average match goal was 4.3 goals per game. And I personally think that this is going to hit in this game and is paying some pretty damn good odds there at 2.05. So definitely I'm going to take this pre-match. We have posted this to our free Telegram channel. Join us. Our handle is at the Punter Life, where we are going to be talking about this game and many more bets throughout the weekend. This is a bet that we're going to take right now, pre-match, and likely to take another bet in play, depending on how the game goes. So that's it for me this week. I hope you learned something, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.